Once upon a time, in a village named Duru, many creatures and humans lived together peacefully. Among them was a girl called Obiora. She was stunning, with a calm and gentle nature. Everyone in the village admired her beauty and kindness. The men often tried to win her heart, saying, "Obiora, you are so lovely. Will you marry me?" But Obiora wasn't interested. She always smiled softly and said, "Thank you, but I'm not ready." Each day, Obiora went to the market to sell her goods. She had the freshest fruits and vegetables, and everyone loved buying from her, yet no one knew where she lived. She would come early and leave before dusk, keeping her home a secret. The villagers whispered, "Where does Obiora live? Where does she go?" But she kept it a mystery. Obiora was happy to be kind and helpful, but shared little about herself. So, Obiora lived quietly in Duru, admired by all, yet private about her life. The villagers often wondered about the beautiful girl who came and went like a gentle breeze. One sunny day, a handsome man named Ima arrived at the market. He was searching for fresh fruits and vegetables. When he saw Obiora, he thought, "Wow, she's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." Ima couldn't take his eyes off her. He walked over and said, "Hello, my name is Emma. What's your name?" Obiora smiled softly and replied, "I'm Obiora. How can I help you today?" Emma was thrilled to talk to her. He bought some fruits and stayed to chat. They talked about the weather, the village, and the market. Emma was enchanted by Obiora's gentle voice and kind smile. Soon he started coming every day just to see her. They became friends, and Emma felt like he was falling in love. One evening, as the market was closing, Emma noticed it was getting late. He saw Obiora packing her things and offered, "Let me walk you home. It's not safe to go alone in the dark." Obiora hesitated, but Emma insisted. She agreed, and they began walking. As they walked, the sky darkened and the air grew chilly. Suddenly, Emma felt something strange. A cold hand touched his back. He turned around, but no one was there. His heart raced and fear gripped him. He looked at Obiora, who seemed calm, walking ahead. Emma couldn't shake the fear. He stopped and said, "Obiora, I think I should go back. It's too dark." Obiora turned and gently said, "It's okay, Emma. You can go back if you're scared." She smiled softly. With fear in his eyes, Emma nodded and hurried back to the village. He ran all the way home. From that day on, Emma never returned to the market. He was too scared of the mysterious cold hand and the dark night. Obiora missed him but continued her peaceful life. The villagers wondered why Emma stopped coming, but no one knew the secret of that night. Obiora held a secret. She wasn't just an ordinary girl. She was from a deep, magical forest beyond Duru. In that forest, she lived with her family, who were not human. They could change their forms, but Obiora was the only one who always looked human. Her family loved her, but warned her not to get close to humans. Her parents had said, "Obiora, you must not marry a human. Our worlds are too different." They were protective. When Emma started visiting, her parents worried and decided to scare him away. The cold hand Emma felt was her family's trick to keep him away. Obiora was sad. She liked Emma and wanted friends in the village. She didn't want to live by her family's rules anymore. She wanted freedom to choose her own life and live among humans. So Obiora made a big decision. She would cut ties with her family and stay in Duru. One day, she went deep into the forest to say goodbye. She told them, "I love you, but I want to live my own life. I want freedom." Her parents were sad but understood. They warned her once more, "Be careful, Obiora. The world outside can be harsh." With a heavy heart, Obiora left the forest and moved to the village for good. She hoped to find happiness, maybe even love, among humans. She continued selling goods at the market, keeping her past secret. The villagers knew only the kind, beautiful girl from the market, unaware of her magical origins. After leaving her family, Obiora felt both freedom and fear. She wanted to live her own life, but knew it wouldn't be easy. To protect herself, she visited Abiri's shrine. Abiri was a powerful spirit known for helping those who chose a different path. Obiora knelt before the altar and spoke softly but firmly. "Great Abiri, I wish to sever all ties with my family. I want to live freely in Duru, away from their control." Abiri appeared in a gentle glow and listened carefully. The spirit nodded and said, "I understand your wish, Obiora. I will grant you the freedom you seek. But know this. Your family will not be happy. They may try to curse you, to bring you back." Obiora, with brave heart, nodded. "I understand. I still want to go through with it," she said firmly. Abiri raised a hand and granted Obiora's wish. With a gentle wave, the bond between Obiora and her family was severed. But true to Abiri's warning, when her family realized they had lost their connection to Obiora, they were furious. Her mother, in anger and sorrow, laid a curse on her. She whispered to the winds, "May you never find happiness with a human. May they always leave you in despair." Despite the curse, Obiora stayed in Duru. She continued her life in the village, selling goods in the market and talking with the people. She hoped to find love and a place where she belonged, even though the shadow of the curse hung over her. Obiora was determined to live freely, no matter what challenges lay ahead. She kept her kind and gentle nature, hoping one day to meet someone who could see beyond the curse and love her for who she truly was. One day, a well-known merchant named Kalo came to Duru. He traveled from village to village, selling fine cloth and beautiful garments. Kalo was friendly and charming, and many people liked him. When he saw Obiora at the market, he was struck by her beauty and grace. "Who is this lovely girl?" he wondered. Kalo approached her with a big smile. "Hello, I'm Kalo. I travel, selling beautiful cloth." "You must be Obiora, the girl everyone talks about," he said. Obiora smiled back and replied, "Yes, that's me. It's nice to meet you, Kalo." Kalo was captivated by her gentle voice and kind eyes. He started visiting the market more often, always stopping by Obiora's stall. They talked and laughed, and Kalo found himself falling in love. He thought Obiora was not only beautiful, but sweet and kind. After some time, Kalo decided he wanted to marry Obiora. Excited, he told her, "Obiora, I like you very much. Will you marry me and come live with my family?" Obiora, cautious about love because of her past, felt a spark of hope. She agreed to meet Kalo's family. Kalo was happy and took her to his village to introduce her to his parents. When they arrived, Kalo's mother looked at Obiora with a frown. She had heard whispers about Obiora's mysterious past and the strange events surrounding her. "This girl is beautiful, but there's something off about her," she thought. After talking with Obiora for a while, Kalo's mother shook her head. "I'm sorry, Kalo, but I don't trust this girl. There's a curse on her. She's not suitable for our family," she said firmly. Kalo was shocked and saddened. He liked Obiora very much but respected his mother's wishes. He looked at Obiora with a heavy heart and said, "Obiora, I'm sorry. My mother doesn't approve of our marriage. I must listen to my family." Obiora felt her heart break. She had hoped Kalo would see past the curse, but she understood his choice. With tears in her eyes, she nodded and quietly left Kalo's home. She turned back toward Duru village, feeling the weight of the curse once more. Though her heart was heavy, Obiora continued to live in Duru, still hoping one day to find someone who could love her despite the curse. She stayed strong and kept living her daily life, always kind and gentle, even when her heart ached. After the heartbreak with Kalo, Obiora felt the curse's weight more than ever. She was sad and tired of being pushed away. Desperate for a solution, she decided to return to Abiri's shrine. She hoped the powerful spirit could help lift the curse that haunted her. Obiora walked to the shrine and knelt before Abiri's altar once more. With a heavy heart, she pleaded, "Great Abiri, the curse on me causes so much pain. Please help me lift it so I can find happiness and be free from this burden." Abiri appeared in a soft, glowing light. The spirit listened and saw the sincerity in Obiora's eyes. "Obiora, you have endured much because of this curse," Abiri said gently. "I can lift it, but there is a condition. You must remain calm and never let anger take over your heart. If you get angry, the curse will return, and it will be even stronger." Obiora nodded eagerly, her eyes full of hope. "I promise, Abiri, I will stay calm and keep my heart pure. Please lift the curse," she vowed. With a wave of Abiri's hand, a warm and gentle breeze surrounded Obiora. She felt a heavy weight lift from her shoulders. The curse was gone. Obiora felt a new sense of freedom and hope. She thanked Abiri with all her heart and returned to Duru village, determined to live a good life. Back in the village, Obiora continued her daily routine. She sold her goods at the market and greeted everyone with her usual kindness. The villagers admired her beauty and calm nature. They knew nothing of the curse or the struggles she had faced, but they could see the gentle, serene person she was. Obiora felt lighter knowing the curse was lifted. She stayed mindful of her promise to Abiri, keeping her emotions in check and remaining calm in every situation. She hoped that one day she would find someone who could love her for who she truly was, free from the shadows of her past. And so, Obiora continued to live in Duru village, admired and respected by many, always holding on to hope for a brighter future. One warm afternoon, Obiora went to the village stream to fetch water. As she sat on a rock, thinking about her life and the challenges she had faced, a deep sadness filled her heart. She missed having someone to share her life with. Suddenly, a gentle voice called out, "Are you okay?" Obiora looked up and saw a kind-faced man standing by the water. He had a warm smile and gentle eyes. "My name is Chidubem," he said, walking closer. "You looked sad, and I wanted to make sure you're all right." Obiora felt a warmth from his kindness. "Thank you, Chidubem. I'm Obiora," she replied softly. They talked for a while, and Obiora found herself opening up to him. Chidubem listened with care and comforted her, making her feel at ease. Over the days, Chidubem and Obiora met often at the stream. They talked and laughed, and a bond grew between them. Chidubem was kind and understanding. He never pried into her past. He simply enjoyed her company and made her feel valued. One day, Chidubem said, "I care about you, Obiora. You are a wonderful person, and I want to be with you." Obiora was surprised. A mix of hope, fear, and happiness filled her heart. She hesitated, remembering the curse and her past heartbreaks, but Chidubem's sincerity touched her deeply. Finally, she said, "I like you too, Chidubem, but I've been through a lot. Are you sure you want to be with me?" Chidubem smiled and nodded. "I am sure, Obiora. Let's make a life together." And so, they grew close. Chidubem treated Obiora with respect and care, and she found herself growing fond of him. Their bond deepened with every meeting. Before long, Chidubem proposed. He wanted to make Obiora his wife and share a happy life with her. Filled with joy, Obiora accepted his proposal. They began planning their wedding, dreaming of a future filled with love and happiness. For the first time in a long while, Obiora felt true hope. She believed that with Chidubem, she could finally find the peace and love she had been searching for. The village buzzed with excitement for the upcoming wedding. Obiora felt a warm glow of happiness, hoping this would mark the start of a beautiful new chapter in her life. The day of Obiora and Chidubem's wedding arrived, and Duru village was filled with joy. Everyone gathered in the village square, decorated, with colorful flowers and bright banners. The villagers danced, sang, and celebrated, happy to see Obiora and Chidubem together. The air was filled with laughter and cheer as they exchanged vows under the warm sun. Obiora looked radiant in her beautiful dress, and Chidubem couldn't stop smiling. They promised to love and cherish each other, surrounded by the blessings of the villagers. It was a perfect day, and everyone felt the love and happiness in the air. But as night fell and the couple retired to their new home, something strange happened. Obiora began to feel uneasy. Her body felt different, and a cold shiver ran down her spine. She looked at Chidubem with worry in her eyes. Suddenly, her legs fused together, her skin turned scaly, and before they could react, she transformed into a giant python. Chidubem's eyes widened in shock and terror. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Obiora, now a huge snake, looked at him with sad eyes. Overcome with fear, Chidubem screamed and ran out of the house. He stumbled through the village, shouting for help. The villagers heard his cries and quickly gathered around their home. They saw Chidubem, pale and shaken, pointing toward the house. The villagers cautiously approached, and from the doorway slithered the giant python. They gasped and stepped back, murmuring in fear and confusion. None had ever seen anything like it before. Some of the elders whispered, "Is this the curse we have heard about?" The joyous wedding had turned into a night of fear and disbelief. The villagers did not know what to do. They were frightened by the massive snake, but also remembered the kind Obiora they had always known. The village square, which had been filled with laughter and music just hours before, now stood silent, everyone watching in stunned disbelief. The village elders quickly decided to call for the oracle, hoping for answers and a solution to this shocking event. The village was in shock and confusion after the unexpected events of the wedding night. The elders gathered and sent word for the oracle to come, seeking understanding. The villagers assembled once more in the village square, whispering and wondering about Obiora and the giant python she had become. The oracle arrived, a wise figure, who had guided the village through many mysteries. The elders and villagers stood in a circle, awaiting answers. The oracle stepped forward and called for Obiora to come forth. Slowly, the giant python slithered to the center. With a deep sigh, Obiora spoke, her voice filled with sorrow. "I am Obiora. I come from a family deep in the forest. I am the only one who can take human form. My parents never wanted me to marry a human because they feared it would bring trouble. They tried to scare away anyone who came close to me. But I wanted a normal life, to find love and happiness like everyone else. So I severed ties with my family, but they cursed me, saying I would never find true happiness with a human." The villagers listened, their fear shifting to sympathy. They had always known Obiora as a kind and gentle soul. The elders looked at the oracle, who nodded solemnly, acknowledging the truth in Obiora's words. Then the oracle turned to Chidubem. "Chidubem, do you have anything to say?" they asked, gently but firmly. Still shaken and ashamed, Chidubem stepped forward. He hesitated, but, under the oracle's steady gaze, finally spoke. "Yes, I have something to confess," he said, voice trembling. "I was drawn to Obiora because of her beauty and kindness, but I also had other intentions. I thought I could use her to gain wealth and power. I planned to take her money and leave her behind once I got what I wanted." A gasp rippled through. The crowd. The villagers were shocked by Chidubem's confession. They had always seen him as kind and caring. The elders looked at him with disappointment. The oracle sighed deeply. "You plan to betray Obiora's trust and use her for your gain," the oracle said. "This is a grave wrongdoing. Obiora wanted nothing more than a normal life and love, but you saw her as a means to an end." Chidubem hung his head in shame, unable to meet the villagers' eyes. The truth was revealed, and it was a painful moment for everyone. The oracle and elders now had to decide what would happen next. The villagers watched, their hearts heavy, awaiting the judgment. After a long silence, the oracle finally spoke, voice calm but firm. Obiora sought a life of peace and love, while Chidubem sought to use her for his own gain. In this world, actions have consequences. Chidubem, you cannot escape the responsibility of your intentions and actions. The oracle turned to Chidubem, who trembled before them. You cannot be freed from Obiora. You must stay with her as your wife. This is the consequence of your deceit and the lesson you must learn. You wanted to use her, but now you will live with the person you intended to betray. This is your punishment. A murmur spread through the crowd. The villagers were shocked by the oracle's decision. None had expected such a verdict. Many felt sympathy for Obiora, who had suffered so much, and were uncertain about Chidubem's fate. However, they respected the oracle's wisdom, and knew the judgment was fair and just. Chidubem looked devastated. He realized the gravity of his actions, and the consequences he now faced. He glanced at Obiora, still in her python form, her eyes filled with sadness and resignation. Chidubem knew he had no choice but to accept the oracle's decision. The oracle raised a hand, silencing the murmurs. This union must now stand as a reminder of the importance of honesty, respect, and true intentions. Chidubem and Obiora will leave Duru village together. They must face the challenges ahead as they seek a new path, wherever that may lead. The villagers nodded, understanding the weight of the oracle's words. They knew Chidubem's punishment was not only for himself, but also a lesson for all about the consequences of deceit and the value of true love. With the oracle's verdict, the gathering came to a solemn end. The villagers began to disperse, whispering among themselves about the day's events. Bound by fate and the oracle's decree, Chidubem and Obiora prepared to leave the village. It was a difficult and uncertain path ahead, but they knew they had to face it together. The village of Duru would remember this tale for a long time, a story of love, betrayal, and the search for redemption. Some villagers watched with sympathy, others with curiosity as the couple departed. It was a somber farewell, knowing they faced an uncertain future together. Chidubem and Obiora walked toward the forest where Obiora's family lived. As they entered the thick woods, the air felt different, more magical and mysterious. Chidubem was nervous, unsure what to expect. Obiora, still in her python form, led the way. They finally reached a hidden clearing where Obiora's family resided. As they arrived, her family members emerged, each with unique forms. Some bore animal features, others appeared more ethereal and mystical. They watched silently as Obiora and Chidubem approached. Feeling the weight of his actions, Chidubem stepped forward and bowed his head. "I am sorry for my intentions," he said sincerely. "I wanted to use Obiora for my own gain, but I have learned my lesson. I accept the oracle's judgment and ask for your forgiveness." Obiora's parents, who had long worried about her, listened carefully. They saw the regret in Chidubem's eyes and the seriousness in his voice. After a moment of silence, Obiora's mother spoke. "We see that you are truly sorry, Chidubem. We forgive you. But know this. Living here will not be easy. You must respect our ways and care for Obiora. Chidubem nodded gratefully. I understand, and I will do my best, he promised. With that, Obiora's family accepted him into their world. They welcomed him not as a perfect person, but as someone willing to learn and grow. Chidubem had to adapt to a life very different from what he had known in the village. The creatures of the forest were kind and gentle, but they had their own ways and customs. Chidubem worked hard to fit in, learning about the magical world and the responsibilities it held. Obiora, now free to be herself, sometimes stayed in her human form, other times as a python, or yet another shape. Chidubem grew to understand and accept her in all her forms. Together, they found a new rhythm to their lives, far from the hustle and bustle of the village. As time passed, Chidubem learned to appreciate the forest's beauty and peace. He became part of Obiora's family, helping them and sharing in their lives. He accepted his fate and made the best of his new life, finding moments of joy and calm. Obiora, too, felt a sense of belonging and acceptance. She was with her family and had someone who chose to stay with her despite the challenges. Together, they found a new kind of happiness, different from what they had imagined, but fulfilling in its own way. They learned that love and acceptance could come in many forms, and they embraced the life they had, finding contentment in their new home in the magical forest.